Well, hello there. Absolutely. I will be glad to take a look at your antenna and the breathing issue. Absolutely. Before we begin, what language would you prefer your examination to be in today? Alright, Greenlandian is just fine. Alright. I obviously lack the body parts to speak vibrant insectoid effectively, but I can put up a pretty good translator, and I am able to do some pretty good mimicry of some of the basic antenna motions. So if necessary, if you're more comfortable speaking in insectoid without any, we can make that happen as well. We just have to do insectoid truncated a little bit. Okay, Grimblenian, that's perfect. That sounds just fine. Now, because of the way we've had to, we are having some renovations and so forth in this area, and so we're keeping it very quiet because we have some very narrow partitions, and I don't want to disturb. I think we have a couple sleeping patients, and I want to maintain your privacy, obviously. So, as always, I am Dr. Patty Loyland. Your confidentiality is important to me. I have been doing work with the Frelsey for, since I was a teenager, and I think we can get some good stuff done today. So tell me, I'm actually going to get out just old-fashioned pen and paper, just so I can take a couple notes for myself. All of everything that I write down, it's obviously paper, P-A-P-Y-R, so everything that I write down is going to go from the nanosensitive material here. It's essentially like a touch screen, right? And it's going to go directly into your medical record. So just good old-fashioned pad touch sensitive technology, with the benefit of easy writing, and the smooth, it's paper. So let's start with the breathing issue, since that sounds the most significant. Go ahead, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Oh, I see. Now, have you been having the same problem with your abdominal pores as well? Okay. Now, what about the air sacs in your thorax? Okay. I see. Well, no, so that is a myth. Vibrant insectoids are actually technically you are more biologically similar to a mammal than an insect, despite the obvious, insectoid body plan. Insects do have a respiratory system that is predominantly through diffusion, because they're small enough that they essentially breathe through their exoskeleton, right? Through their skin. They don't really have skin, but insectoids like yourself, you do have obviously the same similarity to the body plan. You have the expressive antennae, the powerful reliance on pheromones and color for communication, and obviously you have the divided body sections where you have your head, thorax, abdomen, and the many legs. But your respiratory system is actually a little bit more similar to certain kind of amphibian systems, where your air sacs are going to be really similar to like amphibian or reptilian or mammalian lungs. Obviously you do, I think where there is the most similarity to insects, you're going to find is that because you do have those abdominal and limb air pores, you are working not really through diffusion, it's not actually the same mechanism. It seems to be similar to like what an insect has, but actually every single one of the pores on your exoskeleton is accompanied by a small like sac, like a small extra respiratory system. So that's actually a myth. Well, that's why I'm the xenobiologist and you're the soldier, you're the patient. Okay. Are you noticing any goo, any like green mucus or anything, any blood, any blue blood or anything like that coming out of any of your breathing pores? Okay. I see. And how long ago did this start? What makes it worse? Now, have you been spending a long time down in the hangar bay? Do you have a what's your MOS? So is that? So you spent a long time around engine fuel then, correct? Okay. Okay. I see. Alright. Are you noticing any clicking when you breathe in and out? Do you hear unusual clicking? I see. Okay. What about is air coming out through somewhere it shouldn't? Right? Do you feel air coming out through any of the cracks in your carapace instead of out of your directly out of the pores? Now, if that ever happens, that's an emergency. Of course. Alrighty. Well, alright. Let's talk real quick about the antenna before we do our examination. How long have you felt a little bit stiff or limited mobility in your antenna? Hey there. Are you enjoying the video? I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to let you know that this RP is done in the NEODYMIUM universe, and there's an entire playlist of NEODYMIUM universe themed videos. I know you guys have really enjoyed them, and so I have really exciting news, and so I think you'll forgive me the interruption, but NEODYMIUM EXODUS comes out in October. However, I got you a special deal with the publisher. It's basically like a read it first and only pay if you like it deal. So there's a link in the description below where you can read the publisher's uncorrected proof. And if you like it, and it's a long book, which is why I'm giving you the chance months in advance. If you like it, then in October you can actually pay for the book and leave a review. And if you don't like it, you can still leave a review and you don't have to pay for the book. So yeah, it's exciting, and that is down in the description below. That's only going to be available for a limited time, and then there's going to be pre-order gifts and all kinds of other cool things that are going to happen. But so yeah, so read first and only pay if you like it. That's at the link below. Okay, let's get back to the universe. Alright, let's talk real quick about the antenna before we do our examination. How long have you felt a little bit stiff or limited mobility in your antenna? Any drooping or sudden and complete loss of motion? Oh. Okay. Well, who told you that? That's such a mean thing for them to say. I see. Okay. Any trauma, any bleeding, anything else like that? I mean, I think your antenna look lovely. Of course I'll examine them. Any slurring? You know, like slurring of your speech? Understood. Okay. Alrighty, my dear. Let us do our examination. So for your respiratory system examination, I'm going to do some basic percussion first. Basically, I'm going to tap all along the different portions of your carapace and kind of try to hear the hollow sounds that I hear and don't hear. And I'm actually going to break out my stethoscope and try to listen. So unlike like a mammal or even like a bird or like this typical body plan, maybe humanoid or like ursine type mammal, kind of in those cases you're looking for one respiratory sound at once. It's like right. And you, really the only difference is that I have to listen to different areas, and that the places that I listen, it's almost a more tinkling sound, but it's actually the same concept. It's air sacs expanding and closing. It's not that. It's not all that. Let me go ahead and sanitize real quick. Would you like some? Here you go. You can have some too. And I'm going to go ahead and get some gloves on. Have you been around anyone else who was sick? You did say you're... Okay. To tell you the truth, I think both might be related. If one isn't a little bit... No one likes to hear the term psychosomatic, but... a little bit psychosomatic. Well, I try to be upfront and honest with you. Alright, so let me just take a look. I'm going to examine you from top to bottom, and I'm going to kind of listen a little bit to your different respiratory sections, okay? But first I'm going to go ahead and just check out these lovely antennae, okay? So, feeling your antenna over here. Let's see. It seems to me to be quiet. Can you go ahead and flick up on this side? Okay. It's a good sound. That's a normal sound to make when tapping on antenna. And then, can you go ahead and flick to the side? Okay. I'm just gonna feel along here. Alright, the other side over here. If you can just... The truth, what I am seeing, I can see that stiffness that you're talking about a little bit. I think I'd like to take a couple laps just to be sure, but honestly your range of motion is actually well within normal. Have you been staying up really late? Communicating can become a little more difficult. Humans and mammals will sometimes slur their speech or have kind of slow speech after not sleeping. And it's going to be the same with you. It's going to be exactly the same with you. If you are overworked and extremely tired, you're not gonna have the clearest speech, and so moving around your antenna, all kinds of signaling. I do want to rule out other pathology, though, especially because of your work around so many chemicals and the respiratory issues you're having. So we'll take a couple labs too, but I just want to let you know the examination looks really good. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little bit. Let's look a little bit. Let's start. I'm going to start right at the top of your respiratory system, just the top of the pores on your thorax and in your neck here. So okay, that sounds good. Okay, all right, then moving down to your chest. So what I'm listening for is basically masses, areas of congestion, because you would hear it would be more dull. Okay. And then over here behind you. Okay. And then over on this side. A little further down to the larger section of your thorax and moving back across the back of your abdomen. I understand this can be a little bit of a sensitive exam. I will stay up towards the top and to the back. Okay, over here first. And I'm just going to move your uniform out of the way here a little bit. Other side. All right, that's quite excellent. There is a little outcropping just in the back of where the thorns of your face come out, and I want to do a little check back there just really quick. I just kind of want to look. I'm just looking for signs of inflammation because some of your signaling basically at the root of where your antenna come up, that can sometimes it's a little trick I found, little kind of red flag signs we can kind of pick up here. So I'm just looking for signs of inflammation, looking for swelling. It's kind of like checking lymph nodes in humans. I don't know why I keep, well, I think because we're on Luna Guatala, and so the predominant species here, right, tend to be wonder frogs, bukes or space lemurs, and humans. Obviously, there's a lot of other species on Luna Guatala as well. But because of that, I think a lot of you all who've been traveling or are migratory species or species that are just from somewhere else, I think a lot of times you all tend to think, ironically, in terms of the biology of your co-workers. Like you see if they're injured, or and then a lot of the classes that I teach on, like when I teach you all your combat, medic lifesaver courses, a lot of it tends to be geared towards those body plans. Since that's most of what you're seeing in this area. But I hope you've noticed from like when I give the courses to you guys in general, I try to, they're having exercises out there still. It's loud and buzzy out. When I give those courses, I try to give information based on, who is in your squadron exactly. But I do think that because the injuries you see and because of hanging around with them and their biology, sometimes you can get fixated into the ideas of their illnesses and so forth. So that's why I'm comparing. Most of my work is essentially comparative medicine. But absolutely, it's not like they're the standard or for what is normal, right? has it been since you've been in, predominantly with vibrance? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, the growing don't much like migratory species. Y'all don't do a very good job following things like zoning laws and getting taxed and other stuff like that. And of course they don't like that. Yep. Oh, are you? Your whole family? I am sorry, dear. So it's been a while. Yep, mine's the same story. My whole family too. I've been with the Frelsey since like I said, since I was a teenager. So does that mean that no one has told you how absolutely handsome you've grown up to become? Because you don't have a ton of other... Oh, there is. Well, what's she like? Oh, I know her from Squadron B. Absolutely. No, I think she's in... Oh, sorry, you're right, Squadron Bravo. I think she's in... isn't she an Echo Company? Exactly, the Stalker Battalion. Well, she is beautiful. She's very friendly. So... Well, I can just tell you that medically... with the way your spines have developed, with the thickness of your carapace, among most other vibrants, you would be considered a very good-looking specimen. Absolutely. I think that's the saddest part about not growing up with a lot of other people like you, is you don't get to know how absolutely beautiful you are. Because if everyone else looks different than you, you kind of end up comparing yourself to them, and that can be kind of weird to your brain. So there's nothing wrong with growing up with everyone looking different than you, of course, but sometimes, it's just good to be told that you are, you are perfect for what your body plan is. Doesn't matter if you don't look exactly the same as everyone around you, or if you're radically different. So, but in your case in particular, I think you should know you are what is known as a very, very handsome specimen, particularly because of the curvature of the ridge on the back of your thorax. That's considered a sign of virility for a lot of male vibrants. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure your squadron members, at least your human squadron members, have told you look tough. That's not just for humans. That's, of course, people tend to be intimidated by what doesn't look exactly like them. So I'm sure you've been, sometimes you get in trouble for things that you didn't quite, because people assume stuff. Absolutely. But the fact is, all that stuff that makes them think, you look tough or whatever, makes you look ridiculously attractive. I'm just letting you know, having spent a great deal of time studying what are the, biological norms and cultural norms of species all throughout the galaxy, I can tell you, you're a good looking, you're what they call a stud. Just so you know, you should be told at some point in your life that you're good looking. It usually shouldn't be your doctor. That's quite inappropriate. But since I'm a human, and I just think that someone should tell you. I hope you don't feel uncomfortable. I'm not trying to. There you go. Exactly. What a clever one you are. I just think you should know. Okay. All right. So, where were we? We were checking your breathing over here. See, that got you cheered up. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get my stethoscope on and listen. I wanted to check the inflammation on this side. Okay. And then I'm going to take a look in your 2 primary air sacs on your chest. So if you'll just open wide for me in just a minute. But first I'm going to listen, okay? So I'm going to listen to a couple spots here on your thorax first. Deep breath in and out. And in and out. Okay, other side over here. Take a deep breath in and out. And in and out. Excellent. Alright, up here in your neck, deep breath in and out. And again, deep breath in and out. Excellent. Alright, over here, just this side of your abdomen, deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. Okay, over here. Deep breath in and out. Back here, deep breath in and out. And again, deep breath in and out. Okay, sounds excellent. Let's just take a look. Look for any congestion. I'm glad you didn't take that the wrong way. No, absolutely not. Alright, so basically I'm just going to look for mucus and so forth. So if you can just go ahead and open the large pores in your chest for me. Just the ones here at the base. Perfect. Okay. Okay, and over here. I see. Okay, and then I'd like to look inside your mandible as well. So if you could just kind of tilt upwards. Now here, I'll help you a little bit. Just tilt upwards a little bit, and then just open your mandible, okay? Just perfect. Okay. Well, we're gonna order a couple labs. So first off, I think you need to be getting, I think you need about a week kind of more rejuvenative sleep. Now, I understand, right? It's a war. We don't always have that kind of opportunity. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you some medications that are kind of going to knock you out a little bit. You are not the primary at your workspace, correct? You are. Okay, so I'm going to give you a note for your commander, and what we'll do is we'll have you alternate your schedule a little bit so that you can do more of your normal activities in the daytime. I just want to give you a week to really recuperate, especially while we're getting these labs done, just to check for some of these chemical levels. Where insectoids like yourself are very similar to your little tiny fairy friends, insects, where there is similarity is extreme sensitivity to chemical poisoning. I usually don't recommend, oh, you've been told that. So as you know, I usually don't recommend that our insectoid brothers and sisters be part of MOSs that require significant chemical handling. However, I understand that that's something you're proud to do, it's your passion, it's something you love, especially as part of that squadron. Totally understand. I know you love your buddies and everything else like that. Are you wearing your protective gear frequently? You should be wearing it always. So one of the things I'm going to write to your commander is I think you need to check for leaks in your pressure suit. Okay? We're going to order some labs. I'm going to recommend an altered recuperation schedule just for this week. Obviously, that all goes out the window if there's an attack, but for the tempo of this week, I know, don't argue with me. I understand that you're mission essential. I understand that you have all these things you have to do, but you cannot be an effective war-fighting machine if you are not operating at tip-top capacity, right? You wouldn't send out a tank half repaired, would you? Obviously, you're not in the tank repair squadron, or the answer to that would have been no. Okay. So we just gotta make sure, we're just gonna do a little bit of a tune-up. You're still gonna do all your work this week, it's just you're only gonna do it during the day. You're gonna take some time to really be diurnal, okay? You're gonna sleep at night, okay? And I'm gonna have some medications on board. They're just gonna make it happen. I don't usually do that, but because things are a little bit unusual, so what I would recommend to like a civilian is, good sleep hygiene and relaxation exercise and stuff. And that's, I would do the same thing for most of our mammalian soldiers. But in this case, just because of the strict schedule and because I want to get you in tip-top shape quickly, we don't really have time to play around. I'm just going to kind of conk you out for a week, just a short course. You're not going to take this again afterwards, okay? Just 7 days. And it's non-drowsy. It's only going to operate during this period of time. Yep, so you're not going to be drowsy during the daytime because it has a very limited half-life. It actually only has a half-life of 4 hours in your kind of system, especially with your weight. So only has a half-life of 4 hours, but you don't have problems staying asleep, right? No. But I'm concerned that you're going to have a little bit of trouble getting to sleep based on what you said earlier. Yeah. So I think you'll find you communicate much more effectively after you've slept, and you're going to not have so much issues with that. But because you have been having some of the challenges breathing, I want you to check. You need to give me a second. So one of the things I'm writing to your commander is you are not authorized to go back to work at all until your pressure suit is thoroughly evaluated. And I'm going to give you a brief chelation course. Okay. Obviously unheard of for like a human. That would be, malpractice. Why you keep asking me about that stuff? No, but for yourself, and is your commander is a wonder frog, right? Okay. So yeah, so they may have questions, they may not understand, but for an insect, or for an insectoid, it's just very important that we make sure any toxins are out. Okay. So most of your breathing is actually fairly clear, but I'm hearing what I would say on this side especially, I'm hearing some rails, and overall, I'm hearing some very slight wheezing. Almost kind of like something would be like asthma in humans. It's mostly expiratory wheezing in your case, same kind of thing, but you never had it before. Right. I have your records right here too. You've never had that before, and you don't actually have any signs of an infection, especially with the vitals that my medic gave me. So that, just given that plus the inflammation and some of the restrictions in the antenna and your job, we're gonna get some labs first, okay? Was it all confusing? I know I've talked all over the map, but you know what? It's all in here. And you're going to get a copy. There we go. Okay, so you're going to take this down to the lab. Exactly. You're just going to follow the corridor to your right. You're going to get your labs drawn. My medic will be there to take that for you. I have to go down to the intensive care unit. I have a 6 space lemur. So, you're gonna go do that, and then once you're done with that, you're going to bring your note directly to your commander, and then you're gonna go to bed. And then you're not allowed to start work tomorrow until your pressure suit has been thoroughly evaluated. And your labs have returned. And you'll get a note to your wristband. It'll tell you exactly what needs to happen. Perfect. Alrighty. Well, thank you for stopping by. It was a pleasure as always. Of course, the pleasure is all mine. Well, ask her and see what she thinks. Obviously within appropriate military decor. I know it can be difficult to kind of navigate the romantic relationships when you live in what is essentially a military society. And, you know, pretty much we have like the platonic brother and sister ideal. But, you know, the other side of the coin is the Groen want to wipe us out. And one way to deal with that and promote your way of life and all the diverse ways of life we have is to have children and continue spreading that way of life. So, so see how she feels, and then of course if you need to, you can always write a declaration of the romantic interest and make things happen. You know how to make it happen above board, fair and square, appropriately. You know the regulations. I'm just saying, see what she thinks, because you are very good looking. Don't doubt yourself. And let me know how it goes. I am a hopeless romantic.